In this video we will continue to follow the progress of the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry in 1944. The Sherwood Rangers were part of the armoured spear of the Allied advance to retake Europe. They had a very important role to play supporting the infantry as part of a combined arms strategy. They were fighting a highly motivated and effective enemy who were also assisted by the terrain. The thick Normandy hedgerows made for difficult barriers to cross and were excellent for concealment. This combination made the Allied assaults costly. The Normandy campaign from June to August 1944 cost the British, Canadian and Polish troops 83,000 casualties, of which 16,000 were killed. The leaders in Britain recognised that they needed to have a surviving army to police Europe after the war. Politically, they also needed a seat at the table when deciding on what post-war Europe looked like. For these reasons, and also due to its nature, General Bernard Montgomery recognised the need to keep the infantry attrition to a minimum. His Chief of Intelligence coined the phrase, "Let metal do it rather than flesh." This is where the armoured units, like the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry, came into play. They were part of the air power, artillery, tanks and infantry combination. The Sherwood Rangers landed on Gold Beach. For the region, the city of Caen had been an objective for the first few days of the D-Day landings. The adverse weather on D-Day and shortly after slowed the landing of the artillery needed by the frontline troops. This delay allowed the panzer divisions to get into a blocking position. Rather than attack continually head-on, Montgomery tried a number of enveloping attacks. These attacks were to the east and west of the city. Operation Martlet was in this series of attacks to encircle the city of Caen. The Sherwood Rangers had been part of the force to capture the village of Fontenay, which was to the west of the city. On the 25th of June, C Squadron of the Sherwood Rangers was next tasked to support the infantry of the 7th Duke of Wellington Regiment. Their target was the village of Rory and the ridge behind it. As we've seen, Rory was not far from the village of Fontenay. The two villages were separated by a farmhouse surrounded by orchards and open fields. The 12th SS Panzer Division was defending this area. The wooded area represented a threat to the left flank of the attack on the farmhouse. The Sherwood Rangers C Company were to provide fire support to the infantry to clear these woods as a precursor to the attack on the farm. We will use combat mission to illustrate the area and the attack. Early in the morning, C Company were lined up outside Fontenay in support of the infantry. Artillery support was not available due to Operation Epsom happening in parallel. Due to this, smoke was fired to conceal the advance of the infantry across the field and along the road. Key to the structure of any British infantry attack was the squad or section. In World War II, this was usually made up of 10 men, a leader, usually armed with a Sten submachine gun, an assistant leader, and 6 riflemen. Also, there would be a Bren light machine gunner and a rifleman as an assistant. The Bren had a practical rate of fire of 120 rounds per minute. Its effective range was 550 metres. It did not have the rate of fire of the tripod-mounted MT-34 which the Duke of Wellington's faced in the triangular wood ahead of them. It had a fearsome rate of fire of 600 to 1,000 rounds. The British Bren was generally fired from the prone position and was an accurate light machine gun. It was used to suppress the enemy positions as part of a base of fire for the infantry advance. In this attack, it was used alongside the fire support provided by the Sherman tanks of the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry. The Sherman M4 tank was the workhorse of the Allies and was perfect for this type of operation. It was armed with the M3 variant of the 75mm medium caliber gun. The 75 used a high explosive round effective against infantry assault vehicles, which is what the Sherman faced on most occasions in Normandy and Western Europe. It also had an armour-piercing round, which is effective against the Panzer IV and earlier Panzer variants. The 75 was less effective against the larger German tanks such as the Tiger, but these encounters were less common. Sherman also mounted two 30 caliber medium machine guns, one coaxial with the main gun and the other hull mounted. These were also used for suppressing and attacking infantry. The most common enemy to the Sherman tank in Normandy was the Panzerfaust or tank fist. It was a single-shot, man-portable anti-tank device. An astonishing 8.2 million were built in World War II. There were a number of variants, 30, 60, 100, 150 and 250, which indicated the effective range in metres. They used a shaped charge, which produced a jet of metal, which kinetically pierced the armour at a small concentrated point. The Panzerfaust could easily pierce the armour of a Sherman. This is where the infantry supporting the tank could assist by spotting the Panzerfausts. This showed the symbiotic relationship between the infantry and the tank. With the smokescreen developed, the infantry advanced. Initially, two sections of 1st Platoon would make their way up and beside the road, while the 3rd section provided covering fire. The Sherwood Rangers provided suppressing fire over the heads of the infantry. The 1st Platoon made progress. The Sherwood Rangers advanced with the infantry up and beside the main road. The two sections of 1st Platoon then provided covering fire as Section 3 advanced alongside the tanks. On the left flank, 2nd Platoon advances but seeks cover when engaged by machine gun fire. The rest of C Squadron moves up to engage the German positions in the triangular wood. First Platoon on the road and 2nd Platoon on the left flank make some progress, but the German machine guns and mortars are still very much active. The German defences around the wood were still potent. The Sherwood Rangers continued to pound the area with high explosives and 30 caliber machine gun rounds. In the centre, the three sections of the 3rd Platoon moved up, as the Rangers continued to bombard the German defences. Half of the Sherman Rangers tanks advanced, with the other half providing overwatch. Two sections of 1st Platoon move up with the tanks on the road, but are suppressed with further machine gun fire. The rest of the Sherwood Rangers tanks move up to the dividing hedge. 2 section and 3 section of 1st Platoon continue their progress up the road. A number of the German defenders break from the continued pressure. 1st Platoon catch up with the Rangers at the hedgerow. The Sherman's armour and firepower act like a shield. This is an example of steel over flesh. 3rd Platoon advances in the middle but are still taking fire. The Sherwood Rangers advance further along the road as the German defenders continue to break. With the German defenders largely suppressed, the Rangers in the middle alongside 1st and 3rd Platoons moved up. The combined effect of the tanks of the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry and the infantry of the 7th Duke of Wellington Regiment led to the collapse and surrender of the defenders. The Allies could then move on from the wood termed the Nest of Spandaus. The next task prior to Rory was the attack on St Nicholas' farm. We'll continue to follow the Sherwood Rangers on their attack on the farm in our next video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and leave comments below.